Coco Gauff is still going strong on that mission to turn the head-to-head around against Iga Świątek after she scored her fourth consecutive straight sets win over the Polish woman.
Coco Gauff just beat Iga Świątek for the fourth straight time in straight sets. Not 3 times, 4. All in straight sets. That's a stat nobody saw coming 2 years ago when Świątek was destroying Gauff in every meeting. Now the rivalry has completely flipped, and Gauff is the one in Świątek's head. Team USA didn't make the final, but Gauff sent a message that's going to echo through the entire 2026 season. Is Świątek ever going to figure out how to beat Gauff again? Or has this rivalry permanently shifted in the Americans' favor?
I thought that Coco honestly did have the matchup edge at this point. I mean, she won her last 3 matches against Iga in straight sets.
Coco Gauff beat Iga Świątek 6-4, 6-2 in the United Cup semifinals. That's 4 consecutive straight sets victories over the former world number 1. The first player ever to accomplish that feat against Świątek. Not Sabalenka, not anyone from the previous generation. Just Gauff, methodically dismantling someone who used to own this matchup. The shift in this rivalry isn't subtle anymore, it's complete.
But also, I thought that Iga would just lock in harder to stop that losing streak. I didn't imagine her losing 4 straight matches. I underestimated just how much this rivalry has changed in Coco's favor. It's 100% officially changed in her favor, in my opinion.
Let's establish some context because it matters. This rivalry started with Świątek absolutely dominating. She won the first 7 meetings in straight sets, 11 of the first 12 overall. She beat Gauff in the 2022 French Open final. She beat her at Roland Garros 3 consecutive years. The head-to-head was 11-1 at one point. Gauff looked like she'd never figure out how to solve the Świątek puzzle. Every meeting felt inevitable before it started. Then something changed. Gauff won at the 2023 Cincinnati semifinals. That was the breakthrough. Since then, she's won 5 of the last 6 meetings. 4 of those wins came in straight sets consecutively. The head-to-head now stands at 11-5 in Świątek's favor. Still lopsided overall, but the recent trend is undeniable. Gauff has cracked the code, and Świątek hasn't adjusted.
Iga had 4 break points. She started well. She had 4 break points off the bat in the opening game. A love 40 lead and another break point. But Coco found a way to hold. This hold was one of the most important games of the match. It really set the tone for it. And I think this hold also gave Gauff a lot of confidence behind her serve because she had a phenomenal serving performance. 3 aces, 4 double faults. We know that's the number we always look out for, the double faults. So only 4 double faults is great. I mean, if we know that statistic is low, then the rest of her game will be great. And it was. I mean, she also made 75% of her first serves in and won 73% of first serve points.
The match itself showcased everything that's changed in this dynamic. Gauff started shaky, facing triple breakpoint in the opening game. She had to save a 4th breakpoint at ad-out just to hold serve. That's the kind of start that used to derail her entire performance against Świątek. Pressure would mount, errors would accumulate, and suddenly she'd be down a set before finding any rhythm. Not this time. Gauff held that opening game and immediately settled in. She opened up a 4-1 lead in the first set. Świątek fought back to 4-4, showing the resilience that made her dominant for so long. Then Gauff did something that used to be impossible in this matchup. She won 7 straight games, built a 6-4, 5-0 lead, and completely took control of the match.
But Iga made 59% of her first serves in and won 56% of her first serve points, which is really not great at all. Gauff, though, was, again, she returned well, and she was seeing the ball like a grapefruit. She had a few moments on the forehand side where it was shaky a little bit, but overall, she returned great, and it was a crucial part of why she was so successful.
Świątek managed to hold serve and break back once to make it 5-2 in the second set. But Gauff broke right back and closed it out. No drama, no collapse. Just efficient, professional tennis from someone who's figured out exactly how to beat an opponent who used to torture her. After the match, Gauff talked about not letting opportunities slip away. She referenced having match points in previous encounters and learning from those experiences. She acknowledged Świątek played well at certain moments, but said she knew how she was playing the whole match and trusted she'd get it done. That's confidence. That's someone who's been in this situation before and knows they belong. The stat about 4 consecutive straight sets wins is genuinely historic. Jelena Ostapenko is the only other player who's beaten Świątek 4 times in a row, and she's 6-0 lifetime against her. But 3 of those 6 meetings went to 3 sets. Gauff's run of dominance is cleaner, more emphatic. She's not just beating Świątek, she's controlling matches start to finish without letting them get competitive. Team USA didn't advance to the final, which adds context to this victory. Poland won the tie 2-1 overall. Zielinski and Kawa have been unbeaten in mixed doubles throughout the tournament. Zielinski is a 2-time mixed doubles Grand Slam champion. Kawa is a solid doubles player who knows how to perform in team formats. Together, they've formed a partnership that's proven clutch in tight situations. They held their nerve in 2 tiebreaks to close out the Americans and send Poland through. Switzerland awaits Poland in the final after they beat Belgium 2-1. Belinda Bencic has been the story of that run, going undefeated in 8 matches across singles and mixed doubles. She's playing the best tennis of her comeback season at exactly the right time. The final will pit Poland's depth against Switzerland's reliance on Bencic's excellence. That dynamic makes for an interesting matchup. But back to Gauff and Świątek, because this rivalry defines so much about where women's tennis is heading. These are 2 players in their early 20s who've already faced each other 16 times. That's more meetings than most rivalries accumulate over entire careers. And the evolution has been fascinating to watch because it hasn't been gradual. It's been a complete reversal. Świątek's early dominance came from multiple factors. Her heavy topspin forehand would push Gauff back and create short balls to attack. Her movement allowed her to retrieve shots that should have been winners. Her consistency forced Gauff into taking risks that led to errors. The tactical matchup favored Świątek in almost every exchange. Gauff couldn't out-hit her and couldn't out-steady her. So, she lost. Repeatedly. The breakthrough in Cincinnati 2023 showed that Gauff had made adjustments. She started taking the ball earlier, not letting Świątek's topspin push her so far behind the baseline. She improved her own consistency so she wasn't gifting points through unforced errors. She got more aggressive with her forehand, taking time away from Świątek instead of just absorbing pressure. Those changes were noticeable immediately, and they've stuck. The 4 consecutive straight sets wins suggest these adjustments have become permanent. This isn't Gauff getting hot for one tournament. This is a sustained period of dominance against a player who used to own her. Świątek hasn't found answers to the new version of Gauff's game, and the longer this continues, the more it gets into Świątek's head. Mental edges in rivalries matter enormously at this level. Djokovic owned Federer on hard courts for years because Federer couldn't shake the belief that Djokovic would find a way to win. Nadal owned Djokovic on clay for similar reasons. Once a player establishes that psychological advantage, reversing it becomes incredibly difficult. Gauff now has that edge over Świątek, and Świątek is running out of time to fix it before it becomes permanent. The timing of this win is significant because the Australian Open is less than 2 weeks away. Both players will arrive in Melbourne with this result fresh in their minds. If they meet there, and given their rankings they easily could, Świątek will be dealing with the mental burden of knowing Gauff has beaten her 4 straight times. That's not a small thing. That's a massive psychological hurdle to overcome in a Grand Slam setting. Gauff's improvement as a complete player makes this rivalry shift even more impressive. She's become world number 1 in doubles while maintaining elite singles status. That's extraordinarily rare. Most players specialize in one discipline or the other because the physical and mental demands of excelling at both are enormous. Gauff is doing it anyway, which speaks to her work ethic and natural talent. The doubles success feeds into her singles game too. Playing doubles improves your net skills, your volleys, your anticipation on returns. Those skills translate directly to singles when you're at the net, finishing points, or reading serves in return games. Gauff's doubles excellence has made her a more complete singles player, which makes her harder to beat. Świątek doesn't prioritize doubles the same way. She plays occasionally, but it's never been a focus. That's a legitimate choice given her singles success. But it does mean Gauff is developing skills and match experience that Świątek isn't. Over time, those marginal differences can shift rivalries. And that appears to be happening here. The broader context for women's tennis makes this rivalry even more important. Sabalenka is playing incredible tennis right now and reaching the Brisbane final. She's the world #1 and the favorite heading into Australia. But the Gauff-Świątek rivalry represents the future of the sport. These are the two players who'll be competing at the highest level for the next decade. How this dynamic evolves will shape major championships for years. Gauff's confidence is palpable now, in ways it wasn't 2 years ago. She talks about trusting her game and knowing she'll get it done. That's not arrogance. That's someone who's put in the work and seen results. She's beaten Świątek enough times now that it's not surprising anymore. It's expected. That shift in expectation changes everything about how she approaches these matches. Świątek's adjustment period is what's fascinating to watch. She's too good a player to not eventually find answers. But what does that adjustment look like? Does she change her game style to be more aggressive? Does she hire new coaching to get fresh perspectives? Does she focus on the mental side to rebuild confidence in this matchup? Whatever she does, it needs to happen soon, because the psychological damage accumulates with each loss. The French Open will be particularly interesting this year. That's been Świątek's fortress for so long. She's won it multiple times, including against Gauff. But if Gauff keeps winning on hard courts and extends this run into clay season, suddenly even Roland Garros doesn't feel safe for Świątek anymore. That would represent a complete collapse of a matchup that used to be automatic. The mixed doubles loss keeping Team USA out of the final is disappointing, but doesn't diminish Gauff's individual accomplishment. She did her job in singles. She beat the opponent she needed to beat. The team format means you're relying on others, and this time Poland's depth proved superior. That happens in team events. It doesn't reflect on Gauff's preparation or performance. Poland's path to the final showcases how team events can reward depth over individual brilliance. Last year, they reached the final almost entirely because of Świątek. This year, Hurkacz and the doubles team stepped up when Świątek lost. That's what makes team formats compelling. You can't just ride one player. You need contributions across the roster. Poland got those contributions. The USA didn't quite match it. Switzerland's run with Bencic going undefeated is its own compelling story. She's been off tour dealing with injuries, and now she's back playing at an elite level immediately. 8 wins across singles and mixed doubles without a loss is dominant. The final will test whether that form can hold up against Poland's balanced attack. But the story that matters most from this tournament is Gauff's continued dominance over Świątek. 4 straight wins in straight sets, making it look easy when it used to look impossible. Controlling matches from start to finish without giving Świątek opportunities to climb back into contests. That's a statement that resonates beyond just this event. The Australian Open becomes fascinating now because of this result. Gauff arrives with momentum and confidence. Świątek arrives with questions about whether she can solve the puzzle that's been destroying her for over a year. If they meet in Melbourne, it won't be a toss-up anymore. It'll be Gauff as the favorite based on recent form. That's a massive shift from where this rivalry started. The stat about being the first player to beat Świątek 4 consecutive times in straight sets will age interestingly depending on what happens next. If Gauff extends this to 5 or 6, it becomes historically significant. If Świątek finally solves it and wins their next meeting, this run becomes a chapter in a longer story rather than the defining characteristic of the rivalry. Either way, we're watching something important develop in real time. Coco Gauff just beat Iga Świątek for the 4th consecutive time in straight sets and made it look easy. The rivalry has completely flipped, and Świątek is running out of time to figure out how to reverse it before Australia. If you want to see how this plays out at the first major of the year, smash that like button and subscribe because this story is just getting started.